Hello, Toads and Toadettes. Pikmin 4 has just been treated to a, might I say, beautimous trailer in the most recent Nintendo Direct, which, if you've not seen it already, I have made a discussion video about it, talking about everything in that wonderful Direct. But today, we are focusing on Pikmin 4. The one game that broke me when I saw it. There will never be another game that will ever make me as excited as seeing a Pikmin 4 announcement trailer. That was insane. And here we are, less than a month away from its release, and this new trailer has shown us a lot. So I'm just going to give you a no bullcrap, frame by frame analysis of this new trailer. Let's get into it. So first, we see the same scene that we saw in the last trailer of the little spaceship going to the planet. And then we see a look at Captain that you can create, as well as a Bulborb with nothing really interesting else happening so far. We then see the crab enemies from the previous games, along with a 10 posy things that basically are the building blocks for getting your Pikmin more populated. We also see a water geyser, but besides that we don't really see anything besides these ice crystals that we've been seeing, and we actually do figure out what they are later on in the trailer. Let's keep going. Next we see a returning enemy from Pikmin 2, looking fresh, along with a butterfly enemy. That's something crazy. It's really cool to see enemies return in this game. This one's looking really good, and can't wait to take a moment to appreciate how good this game is looking, by the way. This, what looks to be like playground area, because I can see like castle-ish looking things in the back. It looks amazing, but let's continue going on. We then see some fish enemies that we've seen before, and then also a new looking one, this silver one or gray one. Not sure, I don't think this was ever in a Pikmin game before. This looks new to me. And then in the next scene we see a new looking area, the kitchen area, which I am assuming, since this later we see like a living room, we assume this is all the same place. I'm assuming this is the house that the backyard is outside of and that we see in the art, but it is a new area. We also see this new looking lettuce, kale, whatever this thing is. It looks kind of like a blowhog as well, or a beetle maybe. It is new though, but nothing really else here of interest. Then we see a red Pikmin in the hub area, along with Ochi, who seems to have a big presence in this game. And then we see Colin, the captain, with his antenna beaming. And since they're showing a lot of stuff that looks like the beginning of the game, and I'm going to assume that this is the first castaway that you rescue. It would make sense. It looks like he's in this first area, and he also apparently trains you, so I would assume that's what's probably happening here. Maybe you're sensing his signal. Next scene, we see the ship that we come in. Pretty rough. Not looking so good. Along with Ochi just doing his thing. And then in the next scene with Ochi, this is kind of interesting. We're in the same bench area. We can see some posies, a 5 and a 1 blue. But then we see these blue smoke. So when Ochi seems to go through it, it seems to go away or disappear, and it seems like he's following it. I think that maybe this is an ability of his that he could have to sniff stuff out, like maybe certain treasures or maybe a castaway. This actually for some reason reminds me of Twilight Princess. When you're Wolf Link, you can learn the scent of someone, and it's like a trail very similar to this. So I think that'd be pretty cool, and that's honestly just what it reminded me of. That's why I wanted to point that out. But that is very interesting. Then we see our captain just plucking some red Pikmin. We get the first look at the day meter here. It is not like how it's going to be in Pikmin 3, where it was just all over the top of the screen. It looks to be a meter, which I'm assuming the red part is going to be where like it says like days ending, you gotta hurry up, get your Pikmin. Interesting way. It does take up less space, but I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of like Pikmin 3's display, and I remember it being in Pikmin 1 and 2 as well. And we see a sun here. I'm going to assume that we're probably going to see a moon symbol when it's nighttime. We also see health bars for our captain and Ochi. Nothing really else. We then see the captain call all the Pikmin. In that scene, we can see some of those breakable pots Ochi can just demolish. This next scene, we see 20 ice crystals and the captain that we play as throwing some red Pikmin at it. We also see some of the berries from Pikmin 3 that would give like ultra spice to make your Pikmin stronger, as well as a fiery blowhog and what looks to be a wind geyser. We see that the Pikmin take it to the pod. That reminds me of that one thing from Pikmin 2. That is where you take treasures, so this could be treasure, but no, it isn't. You'll see what it is soon. In this next scene, we see more of just running around in these areas and multiple just scenes of Ochi. The best frame right here. This is the most important frame right here. Do not miss this. Ochi can sneeze. This is what I've been waiting for. But keeping it serious, moving on, we see the clock, the little stop clock that we saw in the announcement trailer above the bulborb. When we didn't know treasures were a thing, we thought this maybe was just gonna hang on the wall, but no, it looks like you can grab this. And we also see that Ochi is worth 3 here, but we learn later that we can do some stuff with him. Nothing really much else there to see. We then see him breaking some pots. And in the background, we can see one of those wallywogs, as well as what looks to be a crane on the stool, and this interesting looking red ball with spikes on it on the other island to the left. Next, we see Ochi helping the Pikmin and the captain get across. We also see a cave entrance. Next, we see Ochi interestingly attack a bulborb. First, he just goes head on. We also see a pumpkin, which looks to be a treasure in the background. Which I do want to talk about that food being present in this trailer. Interesting to see. We don't know if it's treasure or maybe they're bringing the juice mechanic back. It would make sense. But Ochi does not look like he does that much damage. But he does seem to have a rapid attack speed, which in the long run can help as just extra DPS when doing boss fights. Or really just whatever. Next we see the Pikmin taking back a Game Boy Advance SP, which looks to be treasure because of these sparkles, and then it being deposited in the ship, which is looking to connect the dots to expanding the radar of the ship, similar to when it was finding the ship parts, and that would expand your radar. And then in Pikmin 3, it was actually finding these treasures that would expand. So I'm assuming that the cache thing is not going to happen with these treasures, and maybe it's not specific treasures that you get from bosses that expand your radar. Because in the next scene after, we see a water geyser, a beautiful looking beach area with some of those more ultra spicy things, some blue looking things that we've never seen before. And then we see gold bits from the mission mode in Pikmin 3. I'm pretty sure they've been in other games though. And this is interesting because it would count as treasure normally. So could this just mean that instead of needing specific treasures to expand, maybe each treasure has its own value, and you have to get to a certain number? That's just the theory. Probably not going to happen. That doesn't sound as likely. Maybe these gold bits are going to have a new purpose in this game. But next frame, we see an elephant slide, which would be really cool to go down with your Pikmin. That would be very dope. I would enjoy that. And then we get another look at the living room, which has the cannon beetle. This is very interesting. This was a boss from Pikmin 1. Feels like yesterday fighting this guy in the Forest of Hope, was it? Or was it in the Distant Spring? I'm pretty sure it was the Forest of Hope, if I'm not wrong. We also see a fan that looks to push you to some ice crystals. And this place, honestly, looks looking really sick. Then we get a scene of the captain and Ochi entering a cave. So we're going to get some more cave footage here. And this first cave looks to be a fire cave, as we can see fire. Probably going to be the first cave, because fire is usually the first. It's always been the first Pikmin. Red Pikmin's always been the first Pikmin. We can see what looks to kind of be like magma in the top as well, where there's a sleeping bulborb. And then we also see sparkles coming from this plant pot. So there's going to be some treasure there. Something that's kind of interesting, though, which probably just is for looks, there's no captain. The Pikmin are kind of just doing their own thing. No Ochi. We don't know where they are, but that's probably just random. That probably doesn't mean anything. Next, we see a wind cave here, which looks to be bouncy mushrooms, which we've seen before, I'm pretty sure. And the fans, well, see a red and blue button. This might switch probably some stuff up. I've seen colored fans, or maybe just like rotates stuff. We see a 10 box, which is obviously going to be worth 10 Pikmin to push, and also some rails. Then we see the captain in the same area use a wind geyser heading towards the button, but unfortunately does not get to use it, so we won't know what that does until the game releases. Then we see this interesting water boss fight against a humongous Wallywog for some reason. Seems to be a cave because we see the pod. It's not like it's a new area, but it kind of looks like it's inside of a building, so maybe this is a cave inside of the house. And then next, looks like we're back inside of the wind cave where the Pikmin are collecting grapes, more food. Maybe if this has the same sparkles as treasure. Maybe it could just be treasure, or they're bringing back the juice. And then we also see yellow Pikmin, which have obviously that height advantage when you throw them, getting another piece of treasure off a spider web, where we also see a fiery blowhog and some ice crystals. Then we see a castaway, where Ochi's obviously showing you. But it looks like this is not going to be as simple to get these castaways. I guess you have to do some kind of battle to do. I don't know. I don't know if I really like this mechanic. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's kind of weird. We see Olimar. This looks like Olimar as a Pikmin. Is this the bad ending from Pikmin 1? I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure this takes place after Pikmin 3 in the timeline. So what is Olimar doing here as a Pikmin? Just kind of weird. It could just also be that Olimar, after saving him in Pikmin 3, could have just maybe come to this planet, run out of oxygen, and he had his little bad ending on this planet here, but it's not actually Pikmin 1. But when we get into this Dandori battle where we need to win to retrieve the castaway, we see a cyan onion. I'm sure this does not mean anything because the other Olimar is a pink onion. It's just for your colors. And you have to collect as much stuff as you need. It's basically like, not really bingo battle in a way, but it's just like collect as much treasure, collect as much stuff as you can. It looks like you can also attack the other opponent. This is also probably going to be in the multiplayer mode as well. And treasure is going to the onion, so they're probably not going to carry over from this Dandori battle. Next, we see the captain and Ochi back at the home base with the ship and all that, approach one of the other captains and are going to train Ochi. And in this training, it looks like we have Ochi's pup drive, which is probably what you're going to need to upgrade him. How do we get this? Maybe, since it says drive, it's probably like just bonding with him and using him maybe through the days. Maybe after every day you get a drive. But out of these abilities, we see buff, which obviously just goes ahead and shows us. That's the amount of weight, so don't worry, it's not just 3. We see level 3, which seems to be the max, is 10, which is actually pretty good because carrying just 10 and not really having to worry about him dying, that's pretty good just for 10. And then we have Chomp, which I'm assuming is his attack, which seems, even though it's on the same level as Buff, seems to take more drives, so I would say that's attack. I feel like attack's probably more important. And then Rush seems to be the most expensive one, just for going to level 2. I want to say this is him when he breaks the pots, because it would say charge if it was him when he charges the enemies. Interesting why it's expensive. Maybe this means that there's more higher up breakable objects than just the pots. But then next we see Doggy Paddle, which it's kind of obvious. It's probably him in the water. We've seen like a stamina wheel on him. And then we see some single units abilities like Jump, which is obvious, him jumping. And then Dig, which maybe could be for those bomb rock holes if they do have that back. Or maybe there's some treasure underground. And lastly we see Heal, which I don't know if this means like him healing himself over time, or maybe he can heal the captain. But it's interesting to see some abilities on Ochi, so he's not really just kind of a side character. There's a big presence on him in this game, I can already tell. Also, going back to this captains, we see Colin, I'm pretty sure, with a sun icon above his head saying next. Where this probably means just to go to the next day. Let's say it's almost sundown and you just want to go to the next day. I've done it before in other Pikmin games. That's probably what that is going to be for. It would make sense since if he is the first captain, you're probably not going to want to just skip days in the beginning of the game. So it makes sense that after that would be the first thing you'd unlock. But then next we see our captain approach another one of the captains to visit the lab, which we can get some gear for those ice crystals that we've been collecting. They're not treasure, they actually help us get some gear. It looks like we have Headlamp Plus, so I'm assuming we start with a headlamp, but Headlamp Plus can increase how much light we get for the night expeditions. An anti-electrifier, and then also another anti-electrifier for Ochi, which actually would be very nice. It probably means you can just walk through electricity, probably not the electric gates, but anything that is electric. And then we see Rush Boots, which make us go faster. That's amazing. That's going to save a lot of time. And then we see a Scorch Guard and a Scorch Guard for Ochi, probably meaning you're immune to fire. And then a Thermal Defense, which I don't really know what it's going to do. Maybe it's something you can put around your Pikmin to defend them. We don't really know. We also see another tab saying Item. Maybe there's some items that we collect or can use. We don't really know what that is. Then next, the captain talks to Yanni, where he says you want to go on a night expedition. And here we go, after sunset, it's now nighttime. We see some more of these Starbit looking things, which I'm pretty sure are those things from Hey Pikmin. They're in this game, it's shown on the website and all that. And we also see nighttime. Interesting though that at this night time when it's supposed to go frenzy, you also see Electric Gate, that the Bulborb does not have red eyes here. We do not see red eyes, he looks completely normal. We see some Bulborb larva and then one getting frenzy here. And then they go ahead and show us what these little mounds were, and they're actually home to a new type of Pikmin, the Glow Pikmin. And then we see a frenzied Bulborb coming to attack this mound with what looks like a marker that we can probably place. Another thing interesting, Bulborb in the back is not frenzy. I think that's also a cave entrance that looks to be blocked off. Probably not going to be available at night. My theory here is that when the Bulborbs are not in attack, like no one's near their normal, but when they see Pikmin or Captain or Ochi, that's when they frenzy. That's what would make sense. If not, maybe it's just when they find these glow mounds, they go frenzy. But yeah, he seems to start eating this mound, which a red signal starts off from the mound, which looks like we have to protect this. And I was also right, there's a moon by the day counter, so it looks like night expeditions will be as long as day expeditions. Something interesting to know here, though, is I'm pretty sure the red part of it is longer. What could the red part be? If night is supposed to be the worst, what's gonna come at the end of night and midnight, you might say? Interesting to speculate about that. But as our captain goes to protect this glow mound from the Bulborb, we throw some at the Bulborb, and we see that it's actually pretty weak. They seem to not do that much damage, but it might make sense as our team's probably only going to consist of glow Pikmin at night. I don't think you can bring other Pikmin here. I did not see the onion, so maybe you just have to go to these mountains to get more of the glow Pikmin. They do power in numbers. You can do a charge attack with a bunch of glow Pikmin to charge at enemies, as we see here, but surprisingly it doesn't even kill this puffy blowhog. But it does look that's 61, and it does look like it does a decent amount of damage, but for a puffy blowhog that's not that much. But it looks like just maybe more you have, the more it's gonna do more damage with that charge attack. And then now they're just showing us stuff with Ochi. We see some treasure, we see wind, just a bunch of cool stuff. In the house, we also see some kind of safe-looking thing, which has red, yellow, and light blue, unless that is dark blue, just hard to see from here. Probably going to be some kind of code to find treasure in there. We see a calculator on the couch as well. We see those star bits here going inside of the mound and glow Pikmin coming out. So that basically can confirm that. That basically confirms that those little star bits are going to, or what you're going to need to get more glow Pikmin. We also see new bosses here. We see some scorpion-looking thing in the beach area. We then see Frostmoth. Wait, this is not Pokemon. We also see this little moth thing that looks ice. So some cool-looking mini-bosses. I don't really think these look like actual bosses. We see a bridge being built. We see some tomatoes, along with what looks like nectar and eggs that produce nectar. We see a glass wall being broken by rock Pikmin leading to a cave, and also, interestingly, some of those ice crystals coming out of it. We then see another returning Pikmin enemy, as long as some gold bits, and this interesting looking blue stuff. We don't really know what this is. It's going to be interesting to find out what that is. And we also see a clam, like in Pikmin 1, I remember in the impact site, there was a treasure inside the clam, but you'd close after a while. So that's coming back. And then we get the same release date. Nothing's changed. Some posies as the crew's just kind of walking along the kitchen. And that's it for the trailer. That was the full Pikmin 4 trailer. If you guys did find this helpful, or if I did miss anything, make sure to comment down below. But if you did find this helpful, or enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it is free, and it makes your fellow Pikmin fans' day. But yeah, I've just been over the roof for Pikmin 4. It was one of the most hyped things that's ever happened to me. I've been waiting so long. Pikmin's a very beloved franchise to me. If you want to see more Pikmin content, I have a lot of Pikmin 4 and just other Pikmin videos on my channel. Love that franchise, and I cannot wait for Pikmin 4. I'll do other Nintendo related content as well. On that note, guys, I will see you in the next one.